edible napalm. It's not just punching people.
I think that's what you need the law for. You have to have the law has to evolve with the capacity to do ruin. I mean, you can harm people now without punching them, without getting.
Or yeah, even that, like, or say like how, you know, just like every day you just constantly harass me, like call me fucking names and shit. Like you come to my house and shit. Like people do that in schools. They fucking will harass people, and now online they basically can't fucking get away from it. It used to be you could get away from fucking assholes at school. Now you really can't.
Well, I mean, I'd be afraid to even go to a party now. I mean, if I thought about somebody videotaping, you know, I mean, well, videotape, I'm maybe using lame words, taping, you know, in video, my behavior when I was an adolescent at parties. I mean, can you imagine that ending up on the internet or something, Remy? I mean, think back. I mean, there's moments you would have to say, oh shit, I'm goddamn glad nobody had a fucking cell phone then.
Oh, not even a video. Just one fucked up picture. Just like you holding a dildo. For some reason, you're just holding a dildo and that picture gets out.
People, you know, that are just as malicious and just as even more harmful, potentially harmful, that are possible now that weren't possible 20 years ago. So let's have law that reflects that. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, how about
let's hear what Ben has to say.
One thing we have to recognize is ubiquity. I mean, like anytime I talk about this, the first response I get from the peanut gallery is, "It's just the internet." Lol. It's just the internet. It doesn't really matter. Ubiquity. It's everywhere. You know, it's everywhere. The internet, lol, it doesn't matter. And the first question I have to ask is, at what point does it count? You know, what percentage of the population spending what percentage of their time and having what percentage of their social contact on the internet what are the numbers for these that have to be met before it starts to count? And the other one is, and this particular to youth culture, it's inseparable. It's inseparable from day-to-day life. I mean, like, most everyone that I have any regular day-to-day contact with, most anyone that I have any sit-down contact with is on my Facebook. You know, they're part of my electronic life as well. And damage done there, you know, a full-scale assault there by some interested party would have an impact on relationships in my family, would have an impact on relationships with friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, 10 years ago, okay, I mean, I was on message boards arguing about search engines, okay, and about indexing and all this kind of stuff. And this little weasel, he was actually in a wheelchair, which made him very sympathetic, but anyway, they were pissed off, you know what I mean, because I was basically exposing a little bit of a racket they were running where they're making extra money indexing, and they're supposed to be volunteers, and they're making money on the side, and blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, so they get pissed off at me. They send emails to the mayor of my town, okay? They find out my name through my domain name, through my Whois registry, and they send email, and they find out I was working for the town. They didn't know I wasn't working for the town. I was volunteering for the town. But anyway, they thought I was employed by the town, and they sent emails to the mayor of the fucking town here. And all right, and it all ended up in a lawsuit eventually, and it's still a lawsuit that, you know, I'm never going to get a resolution to. Apparently, it's the longest standing lawsuit in New Jersey. But anyway, yeah, but it caused animosity between me and the mayor. We've gotten along just fine. We're no problems. And so it ruined my social standing in this fucking town because some fucking troll sent a fucking email and suggested something that wasn't true. But even just creating that problem, you know what I mean? A mayor gets an email, he already doesn't want to be burdened with this. He doesn't want to know about it. He doesn't want this bullshit thrown in his lap. And so right there, you know, here's a perfect way. You harass somebody, you're intimidating them out of their free speech. You're saying, look, you can't talk, you can't do somewhere on the internet because I'm going to hurt you if you do. And that kind of crap. There has to be a straightforward law that says you can't do that shit, asshole. Well, my
maybe we're getting a little far from the subject of bullying because
impose accountability. Okay, so yeah, if somebody commits suicide and you were fucking with them, well, guess what? You might be in some fucking trouble, asshole. So just be prepared. If you're going to play with the fire, be prepared to get burned. Because if you pick the wrong target and it goes the wrong way, you might be on the fucking goddamn hook. And I think that's all you need from a law. You don't need it to prevent. All you need to do is punish. And, yeah, make some people accountable, and I'll scare the rest of them from playing the game.
Well, the subject is accountability for your actions on the internet. I think it's going to be a long time before we get there because there's just so much anonymity and people can hide behind, you'll just never ferret all of them out. But I thought we were talking about bullying, and that's not, sending an email to somebody. It's a pattern of behavior, the point of which is to beat somebody down. And go ahead.
Well, I don't see the distinction you're going to draw there. I mean, it's bullying in the sense that you're going to create a liability. Okay, you're going to harm somebody for their whatever, just being themselves or doing their thing. So to me, I just don't see a point in the distinction. But whatever. I mean, I think obviously most bullies have some sort of rationale for their bullying. They're picking a target, whether the person's gay or whether the person's too good looking or their hair is too spectacular for words, and so they have to get revenge, as I've personal experience with that one, I think. Whether they're too brilliantly articulate for their age, and they have a little small penis or some kind of envy thing going.
Too much.
I think there are kind of two legs to the. There are kind of two legs to the problem, which is what Rami is pointing out. We've got the behavior on the internet thing, and that's there's a lot of baggage that goes along with that one. And there's also the degree to which we tolerate, expect, and even encourage a measure of cruelty in youth culture. Like when Lord of the Flies was originally written, it was not it was not shelved as an advice book. Like, kids, this is how to be socially successful. Certainly increasingly it seems that certainly adults that are supposed to be in a position of accountability kind of turn a blind eye. But one thing in this past week, just looking at the people I'm subscribed to, that's been kind of unsettling for me is the degree to which they are making excuses for it. The degree to which, I like a chap that I hold in fairly high regard, respect most of his opinions, going on and on about, what's the big deal? It's just bullying. What's the big deal? This isn't, we all went through something like this. We all had to deal with something like this. And to that, my response is, first, no, we didn't. It's worse. As bad as it was when we were in school, it's worse now. Statistically, demonstrably worse. And second, even if it wasn't, that doesn't mean that the fact that we went through it means that it was okay.
Yeah, and it's like there's drama everywhere. I mean, it's all, there's these, it's just these stories of escalation. I mean, sabotage. I mean, all this car keying, fuck with somebody's this and screw them over this way and poison that. And, I mean, the stuff is really malicious, the way people are fucking with each other. And, I've seen it in people, and it's like people I know, and it's like they're just, and they live for it now. I mean, they're just so full of goddamn a will to get revenge, and that's their fucking life is, how can I fuck them over back? And, it's, it's really ugly to see.
When you talk about the internet, I mean, I totally understand this idea that people on the internet should be accountable for what they do, because you see just outrageous behavior. And I mean, really, well, for example, Brain Police's account was taken over, his videos were deleted, and I could sort of fantasize about just punching in the nose the person who did that. So I understand that, desire to have accountability on the internet. On the other hand, there's this widespread feeling we have that the internet should be wild, right? That all flowers should flourish, all flowers should grow. And, we just haven't sorted this out yet. What internet and what amount of anonymity and what kind of accountability, is possible. But we were talking earlier about bullying in schools, and that's a completely different environment. You got a roster. You got a certain number of students. They meet in a certain building. There's a faculty of teachers who are responsible for. These are our kids, and we just ought to be taking better care of them.
Well, the problem with the internet and this anonymity thing is it only made sense in certain places. There should have been rooms you go into, like barriers you cross, a border you cross, where you go into anonymous land, okay, on the internet, because you choose to, because you want to talk about S&M or your homosexuality or something else, and you're afraid of somebody tracing you or knowing who you are or any of that stuff, and you want to just interact. Makes it easier for you to talk about it, or more convenient, or however you want to describe it. And we should have those places. There should be doors you walk through where you can be anonymous. But the whole fucking internet shouldn't be an anonymous zone. It shouldn't be a troll, where the trolls have all the power. So the rest of the internet should have been accountable, and there should have been a parallel internet that you can hop onto when it's time for you to be anonymous and play anonymous games. But it should never have been able to move the two of them together. You should never be able to migrate anonymously into the place where you should be accountable. And that's what really pissed me off about the fucking internet.
I think one of the biggest problems we have here is, unlike, let's say, a public school, most places we have discussion on the internet are private venues. These are owned by corporations, all of these forums. How exactly does one enforce regulation on a private venue when somebody is not violating the terms of service or any other kind of contractual agreement?
This is not a technological problem. To us, it looks like a technological problem because we're looking at behavior. We're looking at behavior on the internet as we experience the internet, but we're looking at a corner of it. Current participants are predominantly interacting on English language sites with English language speakers. We are, for the most part, interacting with people in North America. And when we're talking about trolling culture, when we're talking about like the group Anonymous, we are predominantly talking about American males between 13 and 26 years old. We're talking about a very specific cultural demographic. We do not. They say that Viking ninjutsu, but it's bullshit. Okay, we see that we could say that, but it's bullshit. Demographically speaking, it's bullshit. The kind of behavior that we expect, yes, there are worthless. I know that for a fact. But the kind of behavior that we see, that we're talking about, the vicious trolling, endless harassment, is almost completely absent. Almost completely absent in Russia, almost completely absent in Northern and Eastern Europe, is completely absent in Iceland. These are countries where the